Hello everyone. Today I am excited to be here to share my origin story as an author, which I hope will inspire some of you to either think about writing a book or actually get moving on your book if it's something that's been on your to-do list or on the back burner for a while. But first and foremost, hi, I'm Dr. Beth Brombos of Blogger to Author. I'm a best-selling author and I'm really passionate about teaching bloggers and other content creators to use the framework that I use that you're going to hear about today, that I used to write my first book in 30 days, that I used to write another book in less than a week. And really what I want to do is show you how quick and easy it can be to put together your nonfiction book. And that nonfiction book is going to do amazing things for your blog, your business, however you view it, whether that is building instant authority and credibility and helping you be a thought leader in your niche, whether it's helping you start some revenue streams that can snowball into making more money from your website or your blog and more. But I talk a lot about the business in other videos. Today, I want to really focus in on the process of writing the book and how I was able to do that quickly. And really my take-home message that I hope that you will remind yourself of throughout the video as you're watching this is that it doesn't have to be super difficult and it doesn't have to take a ton of time. I do want to back out and say that this is primarily aimed at nonfiction authors. Fiction is a completely different animal. And so what I'm talking about here likely will not directly speak to fiction authors. And I will be the first to admit that I am not, sorry for bumping the video there, that I am not a expert in fiction. So I can give you some great resources for that if you are a fiction author watching this. But so let me start with this story of how I put together and self-published my first book in 30 days. To give you a little bit background about where I was at, this was back in early fall of 2015. So it's been a while since that book came out. I was looking to turn my blog into a business, and it's something that I had been thinking about for a while, but I had just started to make the mindset shift from the traditional mindset of what a blogger needs to do to make money, which is get more page views and get more followers on social so that I could get more sponsored posts. And this was back before the time when brands were starting to realize that micro influencers can actually be a really good way to spend money, and that if you have great engagement, you don't necessarily have to have big follower numbers to have a sponsored post to be successful. So this was before all of that mindset shift. So really, to put things in reference, and I'm sure a lot of you bloggers can identify with this, and just entrepreneurs in general, I was doing all the things. It took hours and hours out of my day. I was still working a desk job and then teaching fitness classes on top of that. So I was trying to fit all of this business stuff into a busy schedule. And shortly before that, so I published the book in, like I said, fall of 2015. I was in part able to do that because I stepped away from a 40-hour-a-week job in retail, but still, like, I was super busy, and I was spending most of my time trying to publish as many blog posts as I could a week. My goal was like one a day, at least Monday through Friday. I was trying to pin all sorts of stuff to Pinterest. I was trying to be active on Twitter and fill up my queue. I was commenting on blogs, especially back when that was a big way to build community, and spending at least an hour or two a day just reading blogs and commenting on them. So I was just spending all of this time trying to do all of the things that they tell you that you should do to create a successful blog and to make money blogging, Again, this is back in 2015, so those rules have changed a little bit. But still, I was making hardly any headway. I maybe got a couple of sponsored posts a month, but I was bringing in less than $500 a month and spending like, I don't even know how much time working on it. It was seriously like every spare moment I had, I was working on my blog. I didn't have bandwidth to spend a lot of time with family, that sort of thing. It was crazy. I wouldn't recommend it honestly to anybody, but that's what I was doing because I thought that's what I had to do to build a successful blog. I then found a business coach who was helpful in resetting my mindset when it came to making a business and thinking about the fact that I could sell either products or programs to make money, and that was a faster way to make money. Now, if you ask me honestly, I think that the best way to make money, and at least initially if you're getting started, sorry, this is a little bit of a tangent, but just in case you're interested, I really think that you should start out with services and become like a VA or something like that, because that's even faster to make money, or like to make a living off of selling programs and things. You do need to have a following. So if you don't even have a following yet, and you need to make a significant amount of money, you, I think, should start with services, but your book can actually play into the services. Sorry, that's a total aside. So anyway, made this mindset shift and decided that the first thing I was going to do is create a book. And at first I thought, okay, this is going to be an ebook. I'm going to sell it for like $10 on my website. It's going to help me make a little bit of money as I work to also take my expertise and create a program along the same lines. So my first book is Yoga for Runners, and then I also created an online program. It was initially like 6 weeks long and was working to get people into that. And I did a crazy thing and launched them at the same time or within a week of each other, which I would not recommend to anybody. That was insane. But I say that because I was really working to get the program put together, to get my book put together, and to promote all of those and do everything in addition to teaching 2 styles of fitness classes and still continuing to work at the fitness studio. So I didn't have a lot of time. And what I did though have was a lot of content that I had already created as part of my effort to become a professional blogger, and that strategy that I know a lot of bloggers fall into, where you feel like you have to create all sorts of blog posts. So I had written dozens and dozens of informative blog posts because I come from a academic background. I have my PhD in the sciences, and so I have a passion for teaching. And so that's what I had been doing with my blog, is taking all this information that I had gleaned and I had learned and that I had experienced as well and put it into blog posts. And so one of the ways that I was able to put my book together in that short of period of time, and granted, yes, it took me about 30 days to put it in. I was not working on it every day, let's be clear. And I certainly was crunched for the amount of time that I could spend per day putting together. But I was able to do it so quickly because I took those blog posts that I had been writing for previous years, probably at least a year to 2, and I took that and I repurposed that, copied and pasted those blog posts, and I made that the first draft of my manuscript. From there, I edited things, I added to it. A little trick that I use that I suggest to people is that I had my outline. I knew everything I wanted to talk about, and I realized that, I should talk about this topic in my book, but I don't have a blog post for it. So I think one example that I did for that was the different styles of yoga. I can't remember. I think at that time, we'll just say it was for the sake of argument. May not be, but it's a good example. So say I wanted to talk about the styles of yoga in my Yoga for Runners book, but I didn't have a blog post about that. So within the month that I was still trying to also, because I'm crazy, create content for the blog and keep that going, I decided that one of my posts for that month was going to be about the different styles of yoga. And so I could, again, take that as the first draft of that chapter, add to it, finesse it a little bit, make sure that it didn't sound directly like a blog post. My blog post intros are a little bit different than what I do for a book. Make sure that it flowed nicely with the rest of the book. So there was a little bit of editing. It's not verbatim, word for word, what's on my blog. But then I got it into one document, formatted it, made that ebook, and then shortly after that, I formatted it for print and got it up on Amazon so people could buy physical copies. There are a lot of people out there who just want that printed book. It's a lot easier for them than having to bring out their phone or a tablet or something to leaf through and get the information. And I think this is true for almost all, if not every niche when it comes to nonfiction. There, of course, are going to be exceptions. There are some people who are hardcore ebook readers, and so I think it's smart to have both, but I don't think that you should limit yourself just to that ebook. I think you really should work to get it into print. So that's the story of its creation. What did it do? It really, having that book out there and people seeing that I was publishing that book allowed me to bring a lot more attention to the program that I was trying to launch. That program that's far more lucrative, especially in terms of getting, a one person in the program, even at the base price that I started it off at, was worth at least 10 to 12 people buying books, even more in some cases. And then the price went up from there. So it was far more lucrative for me to have that program. But the book established me as an expert. And so it showed that I had that credibility that helped me sell the value of the program that I had also created. And so not only was it bringing me in money in terms of book sales, but it was also allowing me to then go down the road and sell more of this other stuff I was doing, especially those programs. So it wound up being a really, really great decision for me, not only in terms of making money from book sales, because I certainly did, and that helped bring in some money, and I continue to sell copies of that book still. It's still the book that I sell the most copies of every month. It brings in the most money from Amazon every month, which is really the main way that I'm selling it these days, is from Amazon. But it helped me launch my entire business as well, and it really helped me set myself apart as a thought expert in yoga for runners, as a true expert. So even though I had credentials that helped me with that, I'm both a yoga teacher and a running coach. And especially at that time, there really weren't a lot of people with those same credentials. It's, obviously more people are getting trained every single year. But that book, though, more than even just having those credentials, really helped elevate me to this next level, which then allowed me to build that business. So to wrap everything up and kind of explain it again, I was able to write my book quickly, and it was able to have big impact, and it all stemmed from me repurposing those blog posts. I can do another video on this, but for those of you who are concerned that, well, hey, is anybody going to buy a book even if literally just copied and pasted and didn't edit it at all? My answer is yes, because it's valuable that it's all in one place, and it's valuable that it's accessible, even if it is just an ebook, that they can use it when they're offline, if they have it downloaded, that sort of thing. But especially when you get it into print, that's an additional value, because a lot of people, I'd say a majority of people, especially for those nonfiction books, like to have them in print so that they can leaf through them, use them at their leisure, that sort of thing. But again, the process doesn't have to be arduous and difficult if you've been creating content, because you have content that you can co-opt for your book. So I hope that you'll take this mindset shift and get inspired by the fact that getting your book making it reality, it's much more accessible than you imagine. It's so much closer than you think. And so I just really hope that it gets you inspired to get working on your book. If you're still at a place where maybe you have an idea or you have a couple of ideas that you need to narrow down, but you don't really know what should go in your book, or you're sort of trying to figure out what's next, that sort of thing, I have a free download for you that can help you sort that out, that will help you organize everything so that you are ready to compile the information you have and then to write new stuff if you need to. And that is my free guide. It's called 5 Steps to Creating Your First Book. And you can get that at blogger2author.com/download. Again, that's blogger2author.com/download. It's totally free. Just head on over and grab your copy. Okay, any questions, you can always leave them in the comments. Please make sure to get that download if you haven't already. It's super helpful, and I will see you all soon. Take care.